Hey, welcome back to Week Spursy for another week. My name is Michael Oliver, and I'm a fucking idiot.
My name is VAR Dickhead.
Welcome back to another episode. No. Obviously, we had a game on the weekend.
We started so aggressively for what we don't.
Welcome back to the show, and it's like, have you seen? Oh God, I think it's like Hulk Hogan or someone on some TV show in the 80s, and someone says something about wrestling not being real, and he's like, "Is this not real?" And just like clocks him. Is it Hulk Hogan? The guy like splits his head open. It's full on.
Yeah, right. That's our energy.
That's our energy at the moment.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah, we played Chelsea. It was a clusterfuck. Like the purest version of a clusterfuck. Like it was exactly what a clusterfuck is.
I'm glad we're not monetized because that's how it is.
Oh, you're not allowed to swear if it's monetized?
I don't think so. I think YouTube are like pretty. When I'm, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
We can say any naughty words that we like.
Oh, piss.
Smelly piss. Yeah, no, but the clusterfuck is the way to describe it. It's. I'm still lost for words. I'm still recovering from it. I feel you're in the same boat.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I feel grumpy.
Yeah,
I feel grumpy. I felt grumpy ever since the game.
Yeah,
like there's just an edge to it where I be like, oh, should I go and have a nice chicken schnitzel for dinner?
No,
I guess. Guess it will taste good.
So, and I know how grumpy you have to be to not get that chicken schnitzel.
Yeah, I love a chicken schnitzel. Morose is how I feel. I feel morose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we've been on such a high through the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
Now and then to have it not come crashing down in the sense of like the team or what we're building towards at all, but just that overall feeling, and in the manner that it happened, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Like this is very much, if you ever look at a game that you want to say is something scripted, like the amount of events that we had in this game, which I'm sure we're going to cover.
A series of unfortunate events, one might say.
Yeah. What? Such as what do we have? We had everything. We had red cards. We had injuries. Many.
Yeah.
Multiple of both these things. We had a whole lot of standing around waiting. That was that's probably my favorite part now about VAR. It's like it feels like you're watching a VAR game, which sometimes gets interrupted with football.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. Also, when you said crashing down, I don't know if this got picked up on mic, but there was a crash of thunder at the same time. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it felt scripted in the way that things just continuously the ground continuously seemed to crumble beneath us.
Yeah.
Each time we were attempting to recover from whatever the setback was. I love, like, in our run sheet, a lot of the time it'll be stuff like Romero's new trousers, or like so-and-so said something funny in the media. They said, instead of saying broom, they said broom, and then this week it's like, well, bin that off. We can't really.
Unfortunately, the running sheet just gets turfed.
Yeah. Yep. I think now I sort of post-game reflecting and sort of reintegrating myself into the world of football. I had to recalibrate a few things, and now Arteta is my hero for standing up to the machines, Dan.
It's funny how it turns around, and now we're like, we should complain about VAR as well.
Yeah.
Let's join Arsenal in that fight.
Arteta's our Neo.
Yeah.
We just didn't realise. Is he the true chosen one? Now we know.
Now we know. We follow him. We are so sorry, Arteta, for everything we've said.
I'm not sorry. I still think all that holds. And I also think it's hilarious still that Arsenal released a statement.
And the most ridiculous thing about that too that I find is like Havertz's tackle. It's like, you really want to talk about VAR from that game?
Yeah.
How is Havertz's tackle? And this might be jumping ahead, but how is that a yellow? Which was such a bad challenge that 3 Newcastle players got yellow cards for complaining.
Yeah.
And then Romero's is a red. Like, it's the consistency is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So if we start, I guess, timeline-wise from the start of the game,
Yep.
we start really hot.
So hot.
So hot. We score. It's a great goal. I loved it. Kulusevski's celebration, he came out and said what it meant.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was like, look forwards. It was like, look forwards at the manager and the team. Don't look at anything else. That's what he said
okay,
it was. That's what this was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that. It's like look forwards at the manager.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble with Ange there. And at the team, because I'm a team player.
Yeah.
Nothing else, though.
What if he's behind you?
You just got to look forward.
You just got to look forward and wait until he comes into your frame of view. Yeah. And then we scored another one.
Then Son scored the offside goal.
Yes. Yeah.
Marginal.
Mm-hmm.
Like offside, fine, but a marginal.
Yep.
And then I think at that stage we had Udogie's first yellow.
Yeah. Yeah. For that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about Udogie's challenge?
Thought it was sick. To be honest with you, I thought it was real cool.
See, personally, I feel like to me that that is way more of a red card than Romero's, which we'll get to. But like it's a pretty it's a pretty sick challenge. Sprinting in, both feet off the ground, sort of in a seated position, like he's doing luge going down. It's a risky move there.
Definitely risky move, but fortune favors the brave, or it does not in this case. Yeah, I really struggle with the. I mean, I guess you can sort of argue this lots of different ways, but that tackle, is it dangerous? Yes. Could it have resulted in injury? Yes. But did he make like actual hard contact with the player? No, he missed him. He got the ball.
Yeah.
So then he didn't actually do the thing he's being punished for.
Oh, totally.
Like if he made contact, yeah, sure, it's a red card, like whatever. And I understand then you could probably, but it's like say a player went like that to somebody and then didn't do anything. Should they be sent off because they were putting the other player in danger because they were saying they were going to punch them?
Oh, totally. Like, and I agree with that. Like, if he made contact with Sterling, then even if Udogie wins the ball first cleanly and then goes through Sterling, red.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Yep,
red because it's like he's making a challenge, and sure, you can't really have any arguments there. But there does have to be that kind of context that, like, if they miss and they don't connect, yellow, I think yellow's fair.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fair. I thought the tag was sick anyway. Thought it should have been a green card.
It was still pretty sick.
Yeah, white card. Weren't they trying to introduce that for a bit?
Let's say green card, but they get American citizenship.
Yeah, I wish you got American citizenship for that. Give it straight out. It's really hard to get.
That would be a great introduction into the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like that tackle was sick. So Denver, what do you?
Yeah, Denver. We've got a few options here. It'll be good. Here's your like IRS number. Do they have those? I don't know.
I think so.
There's Social
security number.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, American listeners. Yeah, great. That'd be cool. Green card, I say.
Green card. Yeah,
give it to him.
Fine with that. Then we have Romero's the next incident? Because Romero's happened on I think the 33rd minute. There might have been another. Maybe Chelsea had a disallowed goal before.
Yeah, for some reason I thought they did, but I'm also. Why didn't I write this down? There was 28th minute was when the incident happened. Obviously, it was then the 90th minute before anything happened. Decision wise, but before that was Romero taking a swipe at
Cole.
Yeah. Which bizarrely, I was like, surely this is going to come up. Like someone's going to mention this. No one's mentioned the fact that he's just kicked out.
Yeah.
Nothing. And it kind of really didn't. Like the assistant was right there too.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That's the sort of tag. Like I would have copped a yellow card for that.
Yeah.
If they go Romero, we saw that kick out because it still wasn't a dangerous kick out, and we know that like they want to retaliation, they want to push that all down, everything. It wasn't like a violent conduct move. Yeah. It wasn't like going up and smashing someone in the face.
Yeah.
I would have accepted a yellow card for that, but they just sort of moved past that.
It was nothing, right?
Yeah.
Because although you could kick really hard and hurt someone, He didn't. His was a light little tap.
Just a little
So
tap,
it was
little love
nothing.
tap.
So it was nothing.
So it was nothing.
But Udogie got a yellow because he made a tackle that if he had connected with Sterling,
would have killed him.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
It's very, and I think there's some stuff around all this that like, which I think also plays into the Romero red card, that like VAR will check something if it's a possible red, but they won't recommend yellows as a punishment for it.
Yep.
So if the referee doesn't give a yellow to Romero for the kick out, they'll still check red regardless. But if they're like, oh no, all clear, it doesn't then become downgraded to a yellow.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of stupid. Because I feel like sometimes you could downgrade a challenge to a yellow instead of going, is it a heinous war crime?
Yeah.
Or is it like just absolutely nothing at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel there's this huge gray area in the middle where it's got to be one of these two extremes for them to get involved. But then you get these scenarios like the sending off, which it seems like could have benefited from maybe, I don't know, having some gray area in this.
It seems like I'm obsessed with this concept now, and I'm not. I won't die on this hill. I know there are lots of other arguments as to, well, if you prevent acts that are close to the thing you're trying to prevent, you're then providing more protection from the thing you're trying to prevent, which is breaking someone's leg. Get that. But at the same time, if I had a machine gun and I went out into the woods and fired this machine gun into the woods, just fired it into trees and stuff, and I don't hurt anyone, and I put my machine gun back in my car and I drive home. If I'm allowed to have a gun, say it's, I don't know, America again, or I've got a license here in Australia, it's not the best use of it, right? In fact, it'll probably be irresponsible use of a firearm. I don't know.
That's probably quite irresponsible use of a firearm.
I don't know what the laws are in America, whether you're allowed to just like go out and, shoot trees.
Well, you can go out and hunt. And I imagine if you hunt and miss constantly, that's effectively shooting trees.
Yeah, but maybe you can only hunt in certain... I don't know, but...
Maybe you have to be accurate.
Yeah, I don't... I don't know. This is what I mean. I'm not going to die on this hill.
I understand.
But if I went into the woods and fired my gun and then I accidentally hit somebody, then I'd be done for manslaughter.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? I don't know. I've already gone back on my own point. Who cares?
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
So I think Udogie for the yellow... Fine with that as a yellow.
Green.
Green card, citizenship. But definitely red if he makes contact.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, agree.
So should we fast forward to the penalty and the disallowed goal?
Yes.
And all that whole schmozzle?
Yeah. But also, before we do, can we just comment on the fact that even prior to this point, I have a message from you saying, what the hell is the deal with this refereeing?
Yeah.
Prior to that, because there'd already been a lot of, Romero got kind of shoved in the back. There'd been a few different things that had happened that you're like, surely that's a free kick.
Thiago Silva, and I think Cole was all maybe, a couple of them, like they did leave a few boots in, and there were a few tackles from behind that just got nothing.
Yeah.
Not even free kicks. And that was a bit of a worrying sign for me to see. And it seems like referees, they kind of try and do this a little bit. Like in the Palace game, I think it was Andrew Madley, he just let that go the whole game. He's like, no, you can just do whatever you want. I don't know. I don't really want to call any fouls. But then we get to this game and it's like certain refs go, you know what? First 10 minutes, go for it. Go for it, boys. Do what you want to do to each other. I'm just gonna turn a blind eye to what's going on. Was that naughty? I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And it's like then after 10 minutes into a game, it's like, okay, now the cards are coming out, flying around, and doing that. It's like they write off like poor challenges at the start of the game of like, it's just, come on, we don't want to take all the physicality out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can get one or two in if you get it in that window to begin with. You can go kick someone in the head. That and the ref's like, oh,
yeah. Lucky you did that in the 10-minute period where we don't want to give any fouls.
Yep. This is
game
foul time.
Yeah.
Or non-foul time, I guess. But it's ridiculous, that you have that. So the referee, it did seem bizarre that we're like, all right, we're letting all these things go.
Yeah.
Okay, is it going to be a loose game that we're basically going to get hacked by Chelsea throughout it?
Yeah, and then they're going to get punished. So then we have the whole incident with the offside. where who was was it Sterling or who was it that was
I think it was
blocking?
Nico Jackson.
Nico Jackson was blocking Vicario's view for the strike, and so it was called offside. And then, because it was called offside, they took a while to sort of draw the lines and do all that stuff. Then they went back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we better just check. We'll just check if there's anything else here that was going on that might have been missed. It was almost like, and I don't think this is a conspiracy theory of the person sitting VAR, but on a subconscious level, they've kind of maybe looked at that and gone like, technically Williams is offside, but we think it's a bit of a harsh offside because he wasn't really blocking Vicario's view. Like, if that goal was allowed to stand, I would have been like, unlucky, but okay. Because he just shot and he was like buried at bottom corner.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they've gone like, well, technically that's offside. We better go back and check everything else just to make sure we haven't missed anything. And then they go back and look at the Romero thing. And it's like, I don't think any Spurs fans would have complained if they had just given that as a goal and gone, you know what? Not Williams, sorry, Jackson. He's not interfering. Goal.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
I think we would have been like, yeah, okay, unlucky, but we've got a game in our hands now.
Yeah.
But then they've gone back and they've gone, the Romero incident. Now the referee's missed it completely. So that means it's either a straight red or nothing at all. And that's where it's just like all hell starts breaking loose. Because apparently if you're a defender now, you're not allowed to clear the ball.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Like, I would have, even when VAR was looking at it for offside, I was like, doesn't look from the angle I'm looking at. Like, yeah, he's kind of in the way, but not hugely.
Yeah.
Oh well, like, that's a goal. And then so if they'd score, if it was counted, right, would they then go back and look at the Romero thing, or would it just be like, that's a goal?
I don't think they can, because I don't think you can go, that's a goal. Oh, now we're going to come back and send Romero off for this other challenge, which technically will be a penalty. So my understanding would be that if they had scored and it was given, and then they went back, they would go, oh, you need to go look at this. If that's a red, then you have to give a red card there and a penalty and no goal. Because the game, whatever happened in the game beforehand, you've got to rewind it back to that point. You can't just go goal plus also punish, because then you say if you're going to punish Romero, challenge in the box, it's got to be red anyway. So you can't.
Yeah.
You can't give automatic goal and red.
Yeah. To me, like, we got the absolute worst outcome, right? Where it was like red and they pretty much, 70% chance or something is the penalty scoring rate. Maybe it's higher. So they got both. They did get the goal and they did goal. And one of our players got sent off. Yeah.
And this is where it's like, I just think that it's such a flawed system. And people start comparing like, well, what about Curtis Jones? Like, and it's like, Curtis Jones went in leg raised over the ball, gets the top of the ball, does get ball, but his legs and studs are up and goes over it and catches shin, right? Romero is clearing it. And it's like, you can't tell me that in that split second that he's clearing it, like when you break it down into slow motion, it seems like he's got all the time to think of everything in the world.
Yeah.
But in that split second, he's not going like, all right, clearing it. All right, my international teammate Enzo is coming in here. I'm just going to keep going through and do that after I've cleared it. It's like, even watching this, I was like, well, that's not going to be sent off.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be cleared because, like, why would he injure his international teammate? Why would he go through and do such a reckless thing there? He's clearing the ball. It's in the penalty box. What are defenders supposed to do? You're always taught to go in hard for tackles when you play.
Yeah.
If anything, why is Enzo coming in against a defender who's clearing the ball? Shouldn't be there.
So this is where it's interesting that you try and prevent, if you're giving out cards for things that could have been bad incidents but weren't, then if you, then maybe you're encouraging players to be like, if I just run at this dude right now, like, and they're like clearing the ball, and I sort of make contact with them, they've cleared the ball, so it's not it's going to probably hurt me, but not so bad as if they were actively going for my leg.
Yeah.
And then I run into them and fall over, and I know that they're probably going to get sent off for doing that. Like, then you're kind of encouraging that kind of behavior, which could possibly mean that somebody gets hurt
Yeah.
by doing that. Like, that's crazy to me. But also, watching it, if you watch it in slow-mo, it looks like Romero clears the ball, and then he's like, and now I'm going to really hurt you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. In real time, it does not look like that at all. He's clearing the ball. That's all it looks
Not
like.
at all.
So I wonder, and it kind of maybe defeats the purpose of VAR at all, but if VAR are looking at a tackle, I think it should only be played in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it completely changes the whole perception of it. You're right. Like, and it looks like Romero becomes this evil genius who's like, well, I'll get to clear the ball, but I'll also get to clear the leg.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just impossible. Like we've already mentioned, it's his international teammate he's probably friends with, right? Not going to want to break his leg.
Yep.
Romero does go in hard in challenges, but that's what defenders do.
Yeah.
The other thing I think kind of plays into this, and I don't know if I'm maybe stretching a little bit here, it's maybe a bit of a reach, but I kind of feel like if Romero was English and he did that, it would get chalked off as like, well, he's just a strong, semi-clumsy English centre-back.
Yeah.
Bloody tough and honest player, bloody good at the game, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But because he's like Argentinian, it's like, well, he's a psychopath, and this is predetermined that he was going to put someone in hospital today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he becomes like an evil genius.
Yeah. He gets assigned a motive that otherwise would have been chalked off as like, well, accident.
Yeah.
Like, he's just going hard for the ball, as we do here in England.
Yeah, honest, blue-collar player, honest.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he's not, apparently. He's become the villain.
I was absolutely flabbergasted by the discussion at halftime on our whatever the Premier League coverage that we get, and there was who was it said
we had Joe Cole, Glenn Hoddle.
It was Joe Cole,
and Michael
Owen. Far out. We'll get to that in a sec. But Joe Cole said, I think that your reputation has to come into it when you're judging cards. I was like, what? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard that as well. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Like, your reputation is a perception that you have that's been generated by external entities, the media, pundits, whatever, that then is a lens to which the, say, officiating member sees you through. Does that mean that it is true? No. The only thing you should be judging is the action in front of you that you've seen.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That is absolutely bonkers. Because then you start going like, oh, well, like we said, he's a good English player. He's a bit clumsy. He's just a bit rough. But what's football without physicality?
Yeah.
You go down that path with it. But then here, apparently, it's like, well, Romero's got 3 red cards for Spurs already, and he's an absolute nut job.
Yeah.
So therefore, this was premeditated, and it's like you can't be taking like players' reputation into this. This reminds me a little bit of when Bale was, I think when he was having his blinder season for us, he got done for a dive, which I don't think even really was a dive, and then whenever he went down, contact happened, but he would keep getting called for diving, and they would just kind of be like, well, he's a diver now, and they would start getting these calls going against him, where it's like, maybe he is just moving at like light speed, so if you do make contact with him, he's going to go down. Doesn't mean you have to give it a foul, but like, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's diving. And he had this like reputation start developing from that refs would then act upon. So here's a similar thing. It's like, Romero's a hard man, and he's not a good old-fashioned centre-back. It's like he's out of control. He's unhinged.
Yeah. Well, he's like the jungle man from the South Americas. Vicious. Yeah.
Totally.
I think the other thing is, to put my psychology hat on for a bit, is that humans are, and this is so much a part of when people get into like having cognitive distortions or unhelpful kind of perceptions, is we're so bad at being able to pick up the intentions of somebody that we're viewing. We're crap.
Mm.
We can kind of make a few guesses, but we use historical data that we've got stored in our head to sort of assume, what their motive was. We don't know. No one knows apart from Romero what his intention was in that moment. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a chance that it was to try and break his international teammate's leg.
Yeah.
But even saying that is unlikely. And to me, it was just like farcical to watch that little smug prick, fucking Michael. I hate him. Go and he like walked over to the monitor, called Son over, called Romero over, and I was like, oh, he's gonna say like, you need to be careful for the rest of the game. Like, yes, it's not intentional. Like,
see, when he called them over, I was like, oh no, because I think if he wasn't going to, he'd turn around and go,
yeah.
But when he called Son, I was like, oh, you are kidding me.
Yeah. Also, Kulusevski in an interview post game said, I think we were too pumped up for the game, right? We were too hyped, which is such an awesome place to be at for a football team. That they're too motivated.
Too hyped. Gaffer, we're too ready to go.
Ah!
Calm us down. Calm us down.
But there's also been some takes that like Spurs lost their heads because of the occasion. Like, it's not an occasion. It's Chelsea. For the players that are on the field, when we absolutely hated each other, sure, it's a big occasion because it's like, want to get you. And it's a London derby, so yeah, it's an occasion. It's an occasion for me because I hate Chelsea. But it's not this sort of like it was, say, Battle of the Bridge, where it's like, we need to win this game. We're in the title picture here. If we don't, then we give the title to Leicester. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can say Battle of the Bridge. We lost our heads at the end when we started going wild with tackles.
And Dan, who was the ref that day?
Actually? Really?
Wait, was it? I'm pretty sure it was Michael Oliver.
Okay, for narrative sake anyway, let's go.
I really want to check because I feel like it was.
It could be. Let's just say
Or was it something? No, because that's going to ruin my whole point. I need to know.
Go with the ref that helps the point.
The point is, if it was Michael Oliver, then we've got 2 games against Chelsea. I can't think of many other games where Spurs have lost their heads and have started flying in on tackles and doing all this stuff that haven't been officiated by him.
Yeah, let's just stick with him, please.
Or was it Clattenburg?
It could have been.
Oh, I think it was Clattenburg. Damn it.
Let's just make that generic referee.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, I hate Michael Oliver in kayfabe, in my head, and in the events of the real world.
Oh, like, we're going to do like a historical Spurs podcast and you'd be like, 1985, when we lost that game, Michael Oliver was there in the stadium.
He was bored.
But yeah, the whole lost your heads thing. This is what I found really hard to wrap my head around, was that after the game, I went on Twitter and I was put out a couple of tweets. I was still very proud with how he played the rest of the game and everything. But I noticed that a lot of people on there were going on like, oh, we've lost our heads, thrown a chance away, this, that, everything else. And I'm looking at this and thinking like, how do we lose our heads? Like, we started this game with intensity, more intense than Chelsea, and that was resulting in us also scoring and scoring again, slightly offside. You can look at like Udogie's challenge and be like, all right, he's young. Like, what do we expect? Like, he's going to be really fired up, and then bit of a reckless challenge or a sick cat challenge. But then I don't think like Romero didn't lose his head, but the amount of Spurs fans I've seen that are like tweeting going, Romero lost his head, what an idiot, needs to control his temper. And I was just like, are you like...
I mean, he shouldn't have kicked out, but then he...
Oh no, the kick out, sure.
Yeah.
But like the record, I was like, are you for real?
Yeah.
Like, are you watching the same game? Are you also a fan of this? Like, how have you seen this and gone, we lost our heads with Romero getting sent off?
Yeah.
I can understand you go later on for Udogie, he got a second yellow when he shouldn't have. Sure. But the whole team losing their heads? Absolutely not.
No way. Definitely not. Yeah. I saw an article on The Guardian that talked about like, we finally see the flaws in Ange Ball. I was like, no, we didn't.
We saw some sick positives from Ange Ball.
Yeah.
But that's like, I think a good point, because it's like, then there's this narrative of like the media are just waiting for us to fail, and suddenly it's like the flaws, the wheels fall off, all this. But then you also have this subsection of Spurs fans who I think are the more self-loathing ones, who are like, they are waiting for things to crash down. They're the ones that when we say we could win the title, they go, no, we couldn't. We don't have this. We don't have this. We don't have this. We don't have this. So it's almost like this is now proving them right in saying we couldn't win by going like, nah, well, look, it was going to happen. We've stuffed up this. Romero lost his head. This happened. Bad tactics. This. And it's like, why? Why are we taking such this like pessimistic approach when there were so many things to rally behind in this game?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it's kind of similar to, if I think about film tropes, like the old, like gunslinger who's, you know, lost their best friend in some gun battle, gunfight. And then they've got a new young buck upstart who's like, we've got to go in there and we've got to, you know, get him. And he's like, we could, but what would be the point of that?
Yeah.
More bloodshed. I'm retired from gunslinging, right? Because he's protecting himself, which he learns later in the film, from being hurt again. That's what he's doing. And the young guy hasn't yet been hurt, but he gets hurt, and then he realizes that maybe his style of like swashbuckling going in can result in things that. So they sort of then meet in the middle and make both of them better. Basically, is what it is. So what I'm saying is, old disgruntled Spurs fans, let's be in a gunslinger movie together for Spurs play.
Yeah.
And I can be like, we could win the league, and you can be like, I've been here before. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Why don't you just sit here with me and drink some of this glue? And I'm like, no. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's actually like it's a perfect way to put it. Like, because I guess you are right. There is that like that maybe like overly optimistic approach, which maybe we have sometimes as well. But yeah, I really like that way of looking at things. Of like, yeah, don't be the old gunslinger. Because what are you living for?
Yeah, what are you living for? To have a young buck come along and put some wind back in your sails.
Yeah, and get you to believe again.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what Ange has done as the manager.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Van de Ven going off.
Oh, far out.
That was the next thing.
Yeah.
Van de Ven and Madison at the same time.
Yeah.
Van de Ven, like seeing him pull up.
Yeah.
Like that hit me like a brick wall. I was watching it with my dad, and like I don't think he clocked that yet, but because he might have thought there was a challenge or something. But just seeing that, like, it was just like absolutely heartbreaking. A point though that Dad actually said later was like, if we weren't standing around for 50 minutes throughout beforehand, would you get a player like Van de Ven, who relies a lot on speed and everything, quite possibly cool down and like get injuries like that? Like, are we going to see more and more injuries happening if there are so many pauses for VAR checks?
Yeah, I think that's a really good theory, and it makes, in principle, makes sense. And I would be interested to see whether, I guess we need to sort of see a continuation of those long kind of checks, and whether there are soft tissue, or is hamstring or sort of tendon injuries soft tissue injury?
Is soft tissue, what's the difference between soft tissue and is there hard
tissue?
Hard tissue.
That's abs and bite. Oh no, I don't know.
My abs, sorry, that's hard tissue.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
worry about
hard
that.
tissue, brother. No idea.
I think soft tissue.
Yeah, I'm gonna run with that. I did, mind you, just say that Michael Oliver refed a game that I don't think he did. So.
Oh, that's certainly fine. We're here. We're in our alternate reality.
Yeah,
now, that's
true.
okay.
Yeah, it's so good here. Chelsea are dead as a club in this alternate reality. Where was I going with that? Whether there'll be an increase, and you can actually make that kind of correlation and go, well, actually, there's more injuries now because the players having to keep on stopping, and cooling down, and then having to go again.
Because it's significant. Because normally a game goes on, the ball goes out for a throw in or a goal kick. You're still moving around a little bit, but you're not really waiting for more than, say, 30 seconds, 45 seconds max. And some of these checks are going on for minutes. Like the fact we had 12 minutes of added time for the first half. And it's like, sure, we made a sub, but like, where did the rest of the 12 minutes came from? It came from VAR stoppages.
Yeah.
It's like that's a lot of football to like not be playing and to just be standing around waiting.
Yeah.
And you're not just going to keep running because you're like, well, what if this game ends up being 120 minutes worth of football now?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot. Like it would have a significant impact, surely.
Definitely. I thought it was a little, again, conspiracy theory here, right? That the VAR assistant from the Liverpool game was again working on this game.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board. I'm on board for this conspiracy theory.
What's going on there? Trying to right the wrongs or the alleged wrongs that you committed?
Yeah.
Well, one of them was a huge, huge fuck up. But
gigantic wrong.
yeah. Who knows, you know?
But there is this thing of like, you know, the referees themselves and the VAR refs, they're not sorry, the VAR refs, video assisted referee refs. They are human and they will be susceptible to some sort of human emotions until we replace them with full robots.
Yes.
But then the robots learn emotions and then we get the same problem again.
Yeah.
But there would be some things that subconsciously kick in where they're like, all right, better not make a mistake, better not make a mistake, better not make oh no. And then possibly overanalyzing certain things, being like, okay, better not make a mistake. Oh, we got to look back. We got to look back at this thing again. Got to look back, go back, go back, go back. And it just becomes this whole mess from that. So, yeah, you can't tell me that, like, if they make a big mistake a week or two beforehand, they're not going to be thinking of that for the immediate future in any games that they're in charge of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So when Van de Ven went off,
Yep.
and then I'm pretty sure Madison went off at the same time.
Yep.
And that's where we got Big Ez.
Yeah, Big Ez.
Big Ez.
Diesel.
Diesel. Toot toot.
Toot toot.
He came on, and Højbjerg came on at that stage as well.
Yeah.
How did you? I guess what did you first think when they came on?
I thought we're absolutely fucked. That was my first thought. I was like, we are toasted.
Yeah.
But then I also was like, oh my God, we're finally going to get to see Pierre play at centre back.
Yeah.
Which he did play there a little bit earlier in the season, was it? But I was like, now we get to really see it.
Yeah, I think he kind of like dropped back in a game in there. But yeah, that was really, really. So, because what do we start with? We started with Romero had gone off. Did Emerson come on?
At that point?
I feel like Johnson got subbed off. And I feel like
yes, it was.
Emerson came on. So we started with Eric and Emerson there, and then Højbjerg comes in to mid, and then I think he ended up dropping back once we lost another player. Yeah, because we're like, well, Emerson, you got to go somewhere else now. You got to go wide. Yeah. To cover Udogie going. So now big Pez, you got to go back.
Yeah, big Pez and big Ez together.
Big Pez and Ez.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I was like seeing his like foot FIFA card like flashing in front of me with like 55 pace or whatever it was. And I was like, oh no.
Is this Eric or Pierre?
Pierre's a little bit faster, I think.
Pierre's a little bit, okay, so this is Eric. Yeah.
And
also someone who hasn't played a lot of minutes in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very surprised that he came on. Mind you, did we really have... I mean, you could just bring Pierre. I don't know. But I was very surprised.
I think Davies would have, but he's injured, right?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Yep. And so he came on. The other thing I wanted to bring up was on X, Twitter, the amount of graduates, I assume, people that are Spurs fans that have recently graduated from medical school or a physiotherapy course. It's been a real sort of, I know it's the time of year, but I couldn't believe how many of them there were posting like the funniest like infographics about hamstring injuries.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And being like, because of the grade of the tear and the area to which it occurred, we're looking at Van de Ven being sidelined for 3 years. Like, it's so funny.
It's so funny. Like, shows the importance of Van de Ven that, everyone starts going like, better research grades of tear and see what we can uncover right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without a scan.
And it didn't look good. But I also long may that continue.
Oh, we love that. I'm all here for it.
Yeah.
Needs its own subreddit.
Its own subreddit. Football new football doctors.
New football doctors.
Yeah, the young doctors of football. Yeah, would love that.
Like, Barney, what have you been doing with your free time? Oh, I'm a new football doctor.
New football doctor. Basically, I post infographics online about various parts of the body.
Oh, do you study them beforehand?
No.
Great.
You got to be quick in this game. You got to just get it out.
Yeah, good subculture.
Yeah, it's really great culture.
Really good.
Yeah. So yeah, those two came on, and then have you seen all the takes that are like naive Ange Postecoglou, naive for playing, sort of playing a high line still?
Oh yeah.
What?
I'm like, that is the sickest thing
Yeah.
of all.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, especially when we're down to 9,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, we're still gonna chill on halfway.
Yeah.
And there's a few screenshots of us literally, everyone's on halfway, and then Son in front.
Yeah.
And Chelsea trying to like ping and break through. And I'm
Mhm.
like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Off the back of Conte, Jose ball, all that sort of
Mhm.
stuff. I'm like, and they would retreat if we're winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
To go into that situation, to be like, we are still trying to give it to them.
Mm.
And our players, they believe that they can still win, which is insane.
Yeah.
That we've got 9 players on the field,
Mhm.
and we go, you know what? Let's bring Vicario into the game,
Yeah.
give us a 10th player.
Yeah.
I think that's genius to
Yeah.
do. And it's like, we can still win.
Yeah.
We can press the field in the middle. Like, we can still get in, and like, there's a chance here.
Mhm.
It's bonkers, but it's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it because the alternative is what? All right. Well, we've got 9 players, so let's just all. By this point, we're down already. Are we down by this, or is it still 1-1?
I think we were down. I think the Chelsea scored in the 74th
cool.
or something.
So even if it's 1-1, we can sit.
Oh no, hang on. Sorry, no, we were down. Udogie went off and it was 1-1
Yes. Yeah.
because they then scored in the 74th.
Yeah.
And he went off in the 55th.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's crazy that he went off. We had 9 players, and it took them like 20 minutes. Like, you should be scoring. I think I saw Ben from Wheeler Dealer. I think maybe you retweeted it, but he was like, you should score like 60,000 goals.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
like, and when we saw that happening, and it was like, I felt like we were in a movie where it's just like, what's the team doing? This is ridiculous. This is never going to work. And then the balls come through, and then Vicario just off his line, clearance.
Yeah.
Happens again, clearance.
Yeah.
And we're just like, this might just work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because the other option is to just sit back and be like, we're just going to try and do this, and inevitably they probably are going to score because they're going to have the ball, mind you, with some of their shooting, maybe they wouldn't have. But or we can do this other thing that is bananas and might backfire, but also it might work.
100%. It's like, why would we drop back and go, all right, let's bring the battle to our house, like our goal.
Yeah.
It's like, let's push as far up as we can, halfway line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we literally couldn't have pushed them up any further.
Yeah.
It's like, let's try and still keep the game up there. Vicario's just off his line, and then we'll just trust ourselves to deal with the counters. They're going to have so much pressure now, and the more that don't come off, they're going to start feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's so much of a more like aggressive, assertive tactic of a team that believes in themselves.
Yeah.
And a team that still believes that they can go off, win the title, they can win this game. Like, to be have 9 players and to be like, we can win this game with 9 players for a half of football. It's incredible.
Yeah. It also gives you something to do, because if you're doing the opposite and retreating and playing, you're parking the bus, all you're doing is waiting. It's so passive, right? You're waiting for the whistle. Whether this is like, we are actively trying to do something.
Yeah.
Because we, in some sense, believe that maybe we can. And like, we almost did with Dyer, having that goal ruled out.
Yeah.
It was mental.
Like, it almost got into, I think, Son's chance that he had when he broke through. That was in the 93rd minute. And then after that, they scored another 2, but who cares about those?
Yeah.
But we could have gone 2-2 in the 93rd minute after that. And then that would have been the worst display of football from any team in history by Chelsea.
Yeah.
Imagine if we'd drawn that game.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, like, you even watch this game now and like, you go, all right, we lost that 4-1. And you see Chelsea players after the game, they're like, oh, we had to come here, get a result, and we did that. And we're like, are you serious?
Yeah.
No one is watching Chelsea now and going like, oh wow, maybe they've turned a corner.
Yeah.
They're like, that was flattering, and they got lucky with some decisions, but they looked rubbish.
Yeah, they look terrible. Shocking. Like, shockingly bad.
To think we had 9 players and we still had 3 clear-cut opportunities.
Yeah.
Like the Dyer one you said, Bentancur, which he almost got on the end of,
Yeah.
and then Sons. It's like, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be getting those opportunities against that team. They
No.
are pathetic.
Yeah. It was, you know, this sounds like I'm trying to put this in a way that doesn't sound like, even though, well, I don't sound like a Liverpool fan, like we've lost, but I'm still like, actually, we came out the winners. But to me, they won and they got the points, and that's the. But watching if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
like we are in serious trouble if that is how we're gonna play.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you, like, it's just remarkable.
Mm.
A player gets sent off, and we're like, no, we're not going to sit back. We're going to come at you again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Try play, and then it's like we got a second sent off. They're like, oh, surely you're sitting back now.
Mm.
Surely you're going to sit back.
Mm.
It's like, no, we're going to come at you more.
Yeah.
That is deranged.
Mm.
And it just shows again like how far Chelsea are away from it. And it's like, yeah, like you say, we lose 4-1 as a scoreline, but coming off to like a bit of an ovation by everyone.
Totally.
And players came in, like Dyer came in, great. Højbjerg, great.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, back to the pundits. Like you mentioned before, like they're so stupid and they're like, well, Spurs don't have the depth of squad here. It's like, we lost the game because we had 9 players.
Yeah.
It's not because we had depth issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think to me, the comments on naivety are hilarious. Like, particularly funny because what do you mean? How is he being naive there? Is he being naive because he was naive to the fact that if we had less players, it would be harder? Like, and he's just like, no, I don't think that'll make a difference that you've got 2 more. Is he naive to the fact, and this is what I assume it is, that in the Premier League, the best league in the world, the league where people run until they die and everything's so brutal and it's amazing, you can't be doing that after you get players sent off, otherwise your club will be in the emergency room. Like, that's the attitude, I think, because it's like, he came from the Scottish League, and in the Scottish League, you can walk out there with 4 players if you want and win.
Yeah.
Like, it's this kind of elitist, gross. The idea of him being naive when he has had such a long career of dealing with adversity and playing prior to Celtic, like I'm thinking in the national team career, where he's trying to play with players that are not as good as their opposition by a long shot. Like, or even in the, especially in the Asian Cup, like Japan, Korea. Like, the fact that he would be naive, like, he didn't learn in that period. He didn't learn. He was just like, no, this is cool.
Yeah, 100%. Like, what do you think would have happened if Pep had done this? I'm
Genius.
sure all the genius would be like, look, they got unlucky there, but wow, it's just brilliant to see a team like that go after it and go. It's like, we got to talk. Okay, no, we'll pump them up.
Yeah,
no, brilliant, amazing. Like, that's what the Premier League's all about: having a go and never giving up. And all that sort of stuff. You had Spurs do it, and it's just like, naive, stupid idiots.
Yeah.
Postecoglou is a fraud.
Yeah, God. I am. You said that the depth. It is a bit worrying, though. That
now it is. I was talking about that specific game.
Oh, right.
I was like, I don't think we lost that game due to lack of depth. But
yeah,
please continue. I do think
Like, what the hell are we gonna do? Romero's out for 3 games. Udogie's out for 1. Van de Ven's out for the next 1,000 years. Like, what?
I wonder if we're going to... Do you think we'll appeal Romero?
I'd be interested to see if we do.
Because it's 1 game extra if it fails.
Yeah.
But, like, I wonder if we look at it in the clear light day and if the Premier League look at it and if we're like, maybe we've got a chance of getting off on appeal. However, they probably wouldn't go back on that because then that brings up a whole nother...
Yeah.
Kind of things.
Then it becomes like a big. Also, I just don't think, unless the club, someone at the club who's quite senior was like, we've got to appeal that. I can't imagine Ange doing that.
Yeah, I don't think he'd want to.
I imagine that he would be like, we continue on, rather than sort of trying to stir anything there.
So
Also,
you've got to be certain that he's going to get off.
Yeah.
If you are appealing.
Yeah.
If you're Ange.
or you're trying to make a point, which I can't imagine he would be wanting to.
Yeah,
like-
well, I would love it if the club came out and made a point on some aspect of this.
Mm.
Like, because Ange has commented about the standing round and waiting.
Mm.
Like, I would love the club to put some pressure on VAR about it. But yeah, it might not be about the red. We
Yeah.
might have to live with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what's going to happen? Romero's going to miss the next couple of games. He's going to go off to international duty with Argentina,
Yeah.
get injured,
Yeah.
and then he'll just be done until like
Mhm.
March or something.
That is exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. What are we going to do? What's going to happen? Who's going to play where?
Because also Basuma's 1 yellow away from a suspension too, right? It's getting quite thin.
Yes.
However, I'm not like that worried because I feel like Ange will have confidence in this, and if he brings through some youngsters, like Phillips, I know he's barely played any football, but at times like this, it's like, what do? Ange would start looking to the youth, and he's got a history of like working with youth players, so I think he would be able to fill them with a bit more trust than say other managers. Like Conte being like, "Oh, you are so shit, but I have to play you today."
Yeah.
I feel like Ange has already integrated a few into first team training, so I think we'll kind of be okay because also the under 21s have been playing Ange ball.
Yeah. True.
And doing really well. So I don't want to sound totally naive. There are some concerns, but I'm more intrigued now to see, who do we line up with?
I think you're right. I think it'll be youth. Because we've got what? Wolves, Newcastle, and
This was very clear in my head before the
is it
Chelsea
Manchester
game.
City?
Manchester City, I still think of maybe another game or so after that.
Oh, okay.
I think there's someone else in there. Villa, maybe beforehand? Or...
Yeah, maybe. And I saw some stuff like, well, they've got tough games coming up. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. Villa could be tough. Newcastle might be tough. And Wolves. And then I looked it up and I was like, Wolves lost to Sheffield. Was it Sheffield or?
Did they lose away, though?
Whatever team it was hadn't won a game.
It seems like Sheffield. It would have been
Yeah.
Sheffield. But I wonder, like, Wolves seem to just like get power ups when they play at home.
Yeah, they do.
And they just become absolute nuisances.
It's the orange seats.
Yeah.
They love them.
Just mutates everyone in the stadium and on the pitch.
Yep.
I think they've beaten Liverpool or City or someone like that at home.
Yeah. Them orange seats. Wowee. They've got the power of the sun in them.
Imagine that. It's like, what's the secret? Mr. Wolves? What's the secret to
Mr.
the
Wolves?
success? They're orange seats.
Orange seats, baby. Was there anything else that happened in this game or came out of this game?
I don't think any other like specific. We probably covered like all the main incidents from that. Ange was speaking afterwards and just complaining about VAR as a whole. But he did it in a really nice way because the other thing he said was, "Look, mate, I've been on the end of like bad decisions. I've benefited from decisions, so I'm not complaining about that. But like, I'm not for VAR. It's not for me. It's not all the standing around and waiting. Like, the other thing he said too was like the referees used to have power, and now they don't. Like you used to look to referees and they would be more like police, like but now there's no power to the referees.
No,
because the referees are cowards. They don't do anything. Even they barely call offsides until 10 seconds later, and it's like, oh, no goal called. Okay, cool, offside, not controversial. It's like someone could get injured, someone could get like have a bad tackle, but it's like I agree with that. The referees now, it's like they are just deferring to VAR all the time.
Yeah, which is not a good system.
It's a ridiculous system.
Yeah. Also, Ange got a yellow.
Okay, got to get a yellow apparently for leaving his box. Mikel Arteta should be banned for life.
Yeah. What?
Mikel Arteta spends his whole game outside the technical area.
Yeah.
In the North London derby, he closed down Kulusevski and was on the touchline. And it's like Ange got one in that sort of heated game for leaving his technical area.
Is that what it was? Because I saw him get the card and I was like, what?
Unless I'm mistaken, it was for leaving a technical area.
That is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And Arteta never seems to get punished for it.
That's crazy.
I'm sure Pep will not get punished. Klopp
Klopp
runs everywhere, doesn't get.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
My mind is blown by that. That's like when you doing someone for jaywalking.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, what? Like
it's like when there's all this murder going on behind you on that.
Yeah,
You're like, did you cross at the lights, Ange?
Yeah. So it's the green one to go, mate.
Yeah.
Green one to go.
That's what I think it was for. Yeah. It's really weird. Like I've come out of this game feeling still very positive about it and like more in love with Ange and the team because I thought this overall a heroic effort. And I felt so proud of like how the team played. But then it is just like it's still just so annoying that it had to happen this way. But I don't think it's our fault as much as other people are saying.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The other thing that just came to me is the difference between the last time people were talking about loving the team and the club and, sort of feeling like it was a positive space and all that kind of stuff was under Pochettino. And part of that was like everyone had best friends with there was like Dele and Dyer and Vimmer and Sonny and whatever else, like all the best friends. And it's so cool to see the best friends and everyone's so tight.
Yeah.
Whether this time, I've got no idea who is friends with who. But what I love about the team is the way that they play together on the pitch.
Yeah.
Right?
They're all friends.
Yeah.
Just
maybe.
one big friendship group.
Yeah. But it's not these little cute, like, things that, like,
No. Well, we've heard about Sarr and Sonny.
Yeah.
With the Sarr's spoken very highly of that. But I agree. It's like we don't have these, like, just partnerships that get on well and no one else does.
Yeah. I think I'm more talking about, like, the club sort of promoting that image as, like, we've got best friends in our team.
Oh, yeah.
And
check out this bromance.
Yeah. Whether this version doesn't... It's like, yeah, I'm sure they're mates. But that's not the focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all do stuff together. Like, after the game, they all go up together. Yeah, you won't see two just kind of hugging and that's it. And it's all very much for that. Like, when they go out and book, like, events now, it just must be a pain.
Oh.
Because they're like, well, should we go see the new Bridget Jones? We need, like, 25 tickets. Or if they do the whole club from the club photo, which is something we haven't mentioned, where they don't just have the team anymore. It's like Ange's like, yeah, bring it, everyone. Every single person in the training ground, bring them in for the photo.
Yeah.
And then put that out as like, that's how we do things now.
Yeah. What about the Spurs podcasters, Ange? Why do you get us in there? The rats of the club.
We could be on, like, if they take that photo again, we will just be on the ground, just nibbling at crumbs on the grass.
Yeah. Us, the parasites. Why weren't we in there?
Get us in, Ash, please.
Please.
Feed us.
Yeah, so I was actually really offended by that photo.
Yeah.
I do so much for this football club.
Spurs play. Let's make it happen.
Spurs play, come on. Well,
I think that covers it. Like, we're going into the episode, like, normally we cover silly things. We do this, that, everything else. But this game was, like, so monumental and everything that happened that it just felt like we had to focus on the game for once.
Yeah. One thing that annoys me about this game, even though it's true, is when people say, like, crazy game. Crazy. Absolutely bonkers. That's football. Bonkers, crazy. And I'm like, you didn't live it.
Yeah.
You want to make light of it? Do you think war's crazy and bonkers?
Yeah, you went up getting up at 6 a.m. to get ready to watch it.
Yeah. And then feeling really tired for the rest of the day.
Feeling so tired.
Yeah.
And even still today, carrying on.
Exactly. Oh, it must be nice of you to observe that and have no emotional stakes tied to it.
Oh, wow. Great game for the neutrals. Yeah, totally. It's that. Look, hopefully Wolves bounce back with a B team.
Yeah. We'll bounce back with whoever's left.
Hey, Gio, I haven't been playing much, but I'm going to play you,
mate.
Great, centre back.
Yeah. Maybe Ange will be so naive that he won't even know how to fill out a team sheet,
Yeah, it's
and it will just do 9 players again.
well, I can't put defenders in. I just put all attackers, right? That's how I do it.
I don't know. Some call me naive.
Yeah.
Like some kind of village idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like so much praise for over 2 months.
Yeah.
Manager of the month, manager of the month.
Month.
Idiot.
yeah.
Bumbling idiot.
Simpleton. Yeah, it's mad. It's madness.
I hope that we do get some sort of like some selection that seems to be somewhat lunacy, like an element of lunacy to it. Like we get we're gonna get Benton Kerr at centre back, or we're gonna play like Forster in goal and Vicario as sweeping up.
Yeah.
Just some sort of just be like, because now if we go into these other games and we like seem just crazier than everyone else, it's like that's what we've got to fall back on now when we've got our star players out.
We're the Joker, baby.
Yeah.
That's what we want to be. Joker mostly losers. But you don't think about the wins or losses. You just think about how crazy
we are.
Yeah.
We line up for a start of the game. We're just like, just clumps of 5 players just on the sidelines, letting it. Do we just run through the middle against them, or is this playing into their trap? What do we do?
Kulusevski's dressed as a cat.
Yeah,
Well,
but still within regulations.
Still within regulations. Yeah, it's very well done.
Very well done.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's what we can expect from Ange.
Yeah. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, this is villain turn now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This week in the press conference, he's gonna be like, ugh. Just so like completely not balanced in any way. Someone will ask a question, you'll go, "Ask me a question." Whoa.
This is my real voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go on, ask me one. I answer like this. Ugh. Cool. Well, as always, I've been Michael Oliver, the fuckhead.
And I've been VAR guy.
And come on, you Spurs.